All right. Morning commute to the DC office. It's been a while. Made it. This is where I park my skateboard. It's a guitar stand. It works pretty well. This week I'm back in the office for a few days in Washington, DC. It's interview season. So I've gotten a number of questions from college students and law school students that are getting ready for interviews with PwC and elsewhere. And I've gotten several questions on what is the best way to do an online interview. So this week I'm going to give some tips and tricks as a filmmaker, as somebody who does a lot of video conference calls, what is the best way to approach a online interview. It's bright and early and feeling invigorated after my boosted ride to the office. And let's get this week going, shall we? Hey, that's me. All right. But the first thing to consider is what gear are you going to use for your online interview? And you've got a number of options. One option is your cell phone. The front-facing camera is a good camera, absolutely works. The issue with using your iPhone, the microphone is generally terrible. If you're going to use an iPhone, you need a tripod. Go to Amazon or wherever, this is not a sponsored video, and get a tripod. Other alternative is using an iPad. Same thing goes, but generally with an iPad, you do not need to, you don't need a tripod. The other alternative is your computer. Computer works very well. But whatever of these three that you want, the other thing that you need is a stand. This is a big pet peeve of mine when I do online meetings or video chats, is many times you'll see people that have their computer or their phone or their iPad and it's facing up so that whoever you're doing the interview with or whoever's looking at you is looking at the ceiling and this kind of awful double chin angle up. It is not a flattering view. So, oops. Crap. When you're ready to do your interview, make sure your camera is level to your face. It looks a little weird having your computer up this high, but I'm telling you, it will make a big difference and will seem much more professional when you're doing that if your camera is eye level. Some form of headset is highly recommended. Next, let's talk about location. All right, so as we think about location, remember that the point of this interview is to highlight you. It's not to highlight this amazing view that you have from wherever your apartment or location is. My first location is an interior office. With the background is kind of boring, that's fine, but notice that all of the light that I'm showing here is artificial light. And listen, that's okay, that's fine, but whatever location that you want to choose, lighting should be the #1 priority. The problem with an office with no windows is the only light you get is whatever light source is in that particular room. Here, the light source is all from up top, and so you can see it sort of creates these shadows. Not ideal. You really want to be able to have some nice, soft lighting to highlight you. So let's look at another example of that. All right, so I'm back in my office. And the best way to do, and this is what I do for the vlog, the best lighting that you can have is natural lighting. Now, you don't want the sun coming to pour in on you. Ideally, it's some type of indirect light. This is way better to have the natural light where the natural light is facing you as opposed to trying to create some amazing scenic view like this. So I've seen a number of interviews or online chats that we've done where people want to show the amazing views outside. Well, the problem with that is that when the light is brighter than you are, you can't see your face. The outside, again, is not what we're trying to highlight in an interview. It's you that is we're trying to highlight. So this, even with the lights on, I turned on the overhead lights. Still see, you can now see me slightly better, but I'm still dark. There's the overhead lights. This is not what you want. This is what you want. You'll notice that I've got the camera pretty wide angle. You want to make sure that your head is squared center. You don't want to be too far back. You don't want to be too close. Getting right in the center of the screen is ideal. All right. So I am back in Westminster Studios. So you now have your computer or your iPhone or your iPad and you're ready for that big online interview. I have a number of vlogs that are out there about interview tips, but I can boil it down to 3 things. Number 1, be prepared. So do some research. Make sure you understand the company that you're interviewing for. Go on Reddit, go online, do some research. What are some other interview questions? Just make sure that you're prepared. Number 2, my handwriting is atrocious. Number 2, have some talking points. What are some of the things that are experiences that you have had during high school, during college, that are relevant to the job that you're interviewing that you want to share? You may not get a specific question about it, but you need to know that you have some talking points that you want to weave into the discussion at some point. This should not be a list of 10. This should probably be a list of 2 or 3. Last one, number 3. Questions. All right. Have a couple or few prepared questions for your interviewer. Ideally, you've done some research because, remember, the first number 1, be prepared. Because you've done some preparation, you know who you're interviewing, you've been on LinkedIn, you know his or her background. Have some questions for that individual. Have some questions about the organization. But if you've got questions about the role or about the company that you weren't able to find online because you've done some of the preparation and you still don't know, ask those questions. And finally, most importantly, act confident. And again, we talked about this on the Doug McConey vlog. Acting confident in a situation like that is just as good as being confident. So even if you have some self-doubt, even if you're not exactly sure whether you would be the right person, act like it, own it, act confident, and just do that in life in general. Mash that like button if you are enjoying what you're seeing around here. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. You need to register on YouTube, please. We're running a little slowly on our way to 10,000. Stay tuned next week for another exciting edition of the Doug McConey Vlog.